Hello. This should be another short one. Also does something interesting. You remember the decimal theory? Where it's like, oh, if you just take it off, I won. Like, take off the third digit of the ages, then it makes so much more sense. Yeah, it's about to get absolutely destroyed here. Also, yes, there's a whole bunch of proof that Abraham actually was a real person, and his antics and stuff does fit up perfectly well with the ancient time of which he came from. Yes. I don't know how much you atheists don't want to hear it, but that's why I have to say it even more. Anyway, this is the account of Shem. 2 years after the flood, when Shem was 100 years old, he became the father of Aparax. Yes, that would make, according to the decimal theory, makes Shem 10. But that's not where it falls apart. After he became the father of Aparax, Shem lived 500 years and had other sons and daughters. When Aparax lived 35 years, he became the father of Shelah. And after he became the father of Shelah, Aparax lived 403 years and had other sons and daughters. That would be tragic. I guess it is the ancient world, but still, you go from 35 to die at 40. Anyway, after Shelah lived 30 years, he became the father of Eber, and after he became the father of Eber, Shelah lived 403 years and had other sons and daughters. When Eber had lived 34 years, he became the father of Peglah, and after he became the father of Peglah, Eber lived 430 years, had other sons and daughters. Okay, everything is... just wait for it. Here it comes. When Peglah had lived 30 years, keep that in mind, 30 years, he became the father of Ru. And after he became the father of Ru, Peglah lived 209 years and had other sons and daughters. Now, have you noticed the problem if the decimal theory is true? He lived 30 years and became the father of Ru, then lived 209 years. The decimal theory will say he lived till 20, but had a son at 30. So yes, there's symbolic numbers, in case you were wondering. That's the actual explanation. But if you believe in the decimal theory, it only gets worse from here. Sorry. Ru had lived 32 years. He became the father of Shrug. After he became the father of Shrug, Ru lived 207 years. Another person dies at 20, but has kids in their 30s years and had other sons and daughters. When Shrug lived 30 years, he became the father of Norah. And after he became the father of Norah, Slug lived 200 years and had other sons and daughters. When Norah had lived 29 years, he became the father of Torah. And after he became the father of Torah, he lived 119 years. So he died at 11, but had a kid at 29, according to the decimal theory. There's just symbolic numbers. And go watch Inspiring Philosophy's video. It's linked in the video description of when I went over the Table of Nations. Anyway. Yes. And had other sons and daughters. Now, what you hear... now, here is where it gets absolutely terrible. The decimal theory. After Torah lived 70 years. Understand? 70 years. He became the father of Abram, Norah, and Haran. This is the account of Torah. Torah became the father of Abram, Norah, and Haran became the father of Lot. While his father was still alive, Haran died in Ur of the Chaldeans. Why does it say Chaldeans? Because that's what the Israelites would have known it as when Genesis was being written. Also, Go Inspired Philosophy covers this in like his Who Wrote the Bible, but yeah, and Defending Abraham, it's called the Chaldeans because that's who they would more associate with the land than the Babylonians of ancient past. In the land of his birth. Doesn't say how. Might have been war. Abram and Nora both married. The name of Abram's wife, Sarai, was Sarai. The name of Noram's wife was Melechah. She was the daughter of Haran, the father of both Melechah and Issachar. And now Sarai was burdened. She had no children. Terah took his son, Abram, his grandson Lot of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, the wife of his son Abram, and together they set out from Ur of the Chaldeans. If you don't know, that's like in Iraq near the Persian Gulf. To go, well, it used to be closer to the Persian Gulf, but the Persian Gulf has been shrinking over the years. To go to Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. Yes, because names have meanings there. In the time, you would name somebody what you wanted their qualities or what qualities you believe they had, and you also would name your cities that. And more than one person can have the same name. It's not evidence that this is a made-up story. Anyway, Terah lived 205 years, and he died in Haran. So he was on his way to Canaan, first of all. Let's just go over that. He was on his way to Canaan, so did God want... It seems like God wanted Abram's full family to go to Canaan first, but Terah just stopped for whatever reason. But, yeah. Also, this is where the decimal theory dies, because if you notice, when did Terah become the father of Abram and his brothers? 70. Wait, he lived 205 years. Wait, that would mean he lived 20 years. Died. But became a father 50 years later, even with modern technology. That's not possible. I am absolutely positive. They're symbolic numbers. That's what they are. They're just symbolic numbers. Yeah. Yes, the ancient Israelites would have believed this because they knew the symbolism. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the modern day Israelites would too. Yeah, but the decimal theory just dies here because that would be like someone born in 2002, dying this year at the age of 20. And then you hear a story of how they miraculously start having children in 2072. Yeah. Anyway, go watch my other stuff. Bye.